that this is a fated full moon energy. It's going to help to align us with the change that we need to make in order to fully embrace the new path that we need to move into. This full moon energy is all about finding beauty in the unconventional. Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I'm back with another super exciting extended 2-week forecast. This one is for September 10th all the way through to September 24th of 2022, the entire waxing phase of the lunar cycle, beginning of course with the full moon in the sign of Pisces. And this one, you guys, is looking absolutely magical. This full moon energy is all about finding beauty in the unconventional. And this is also an energy that's mitigating some of the more difficult influences that we felt, especially when we were back in August and even like late July, when we had the conjunction between Uranus in the North Node and Mars in the mix, the T-squares, all of that. We've been talking about it for weeks now. Now that's starting to kind of separate, and we're starting to feel a little bit of relief already, but the energy of this full moon is actually going to mitigate that even further. It's going to bring out the more positive energies of the conjunction between the North Node and Uranus, because this full moon will be in sextile with the North Node and Uranus and will be in a trine with the South Node in the sign of Scorpio. This means that this is a fated full moon energy. Fated in the best possible way, I should add, because this is going to help align us very gently and very, in a way that's very gentle, very nurturing, very fantastical because of that Pisces-Neptune energy. But it's going to help to align us with the change that we need to make in order to fully embrace the new path that we need to move into. We've been going through a lot of changes. We've gone through a lot of changes. There's been some upheaval. There's been some disruption. And now we're seeing the other side of the light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing the other side of that. And this full moon energy is going to illuminate the subtle changes, the pivots that we still need to make in a really positive way. It's going to bring new opportunities. It's going to bring blessings. It's going to help us to access our imagination so we can really envision the world that we want to see in our personal lives and in the collective sphere. And so this is a time where we can very powerfully experience signs, synchronicities, visions, impressions, downloads that will help us to manifest what we truly need, want, and desire in order to align with what our soul came here to experience in this lifetime. So this is a powerful energy. This is a big moment. This full moon is also obviously in a conjunction with Neptune. And so that means that the rose-colored glasses will be on. We're going to be viewing life and seeing things through this lens of what is ideal, what is, best for the greatest good of all concerned, but it's also going to be kind of like what we want to see. And so a lot of people will be seeing what they want to see. However, this is an energy where we can translate that into actually making some sort of change, doing something in real life that's very tangible, that can help us to bring our lives and our experiences and our realities closer to that ideal, to that vision that we're having for our future reality. And so again, great energy. The only thing I'm not super loving about this is the fact that this full moon will be in a T-square with the Mars transit through the sign of Gemini. It's not super tight, but it's there. And so there is going to be some friction. Anytime you have Mars squaring Neptune, collectively it can bring up some stuff. We've seen a lot of big kind of tragic events. A lot of times it has to do with shootings and things like that happen when we have these Mars-Neptune alignments, where things are also a little bit nebulous around it. And so, that is an energy that's present with this full moon, but there's so much beauty and so many good things happening with this full moon energy that I'm not convinced that that's what we're going to be seeing. And on a personal level, this could just be like feeling a lot of confusion around where to take action, what to take action on, what the next steps might be, especially with Mars and Gemini, because it's kind of like we want to jump in and do all the things and start all the things all at once. And that Neptunian energy makes it even more confusing and nebulous and foggy and just like all over the place where it's like we don't really know what to latch on to. And that could be part of this energy too, where it's like I feel like I need to embrace this new reality. I feel like something fated and synchronistic is coming in. I feel like I'm being led in a certain direction. But what is the first step I need to take to get there? What are the first steps I need to take to get there? Which of these things should I actually be focusing my attention on or initiating or launching into right now? I don't know. There's too much. Too many things are exciting right now, and that's kind of the biggest problem we might have. This is also a time where, you know, our emotions could get the better of us, and we could jump into something because in the moment it kind of aligns with our vision. It seems too good to be true, and it probably is. And then you can kind of embrace that maybe a little bit too much and go in the wrong direction that way. So there is a little bit of diciness around that. But again, for the most part, I love this energy, especially if there's something that's coming up for you that's carrying out or carrying forward a change that's already started to manifest, especially in July and August of this year, where it's kind of like, all right, these changes have already started. There was disruption. Things are starting to settle in. I'm starting to see where this is going. And now that's being illuminated even more so. Now I'm getting this vision. Now I'm getting these signs. Now I can imagine the reality I'm going to create out of this disruption and move forward with that, right? If that's what's coming up for you, this is a great, great energy. And I think that's actually what's going to be coming up for a lot of people just because of the way that the energy is being aligned. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more and the energy for the coming 2 weeks. But before we get into that, I just want to introduce myself to those of you who are new to my channel. Hello, my name is Heather Eland. I'm a professional astrologer and astrology teacher. My specialty is helping students who are struggling to put all the bits and pieces together to learn to give meaningful, accurate astrology readings with confidence. And the best way I do that is through my Cosmic Academy of Astrology. You can get on the waitlist for that and learn more about the whole program. It's a year-long program that takes you from the very, very foundations all the way to giving readings, making predictions on a professional level, even if that's what you want. Again, that link is down in the description below. You can learn all about that. And even if you're not ready for a full-blown program, I have a free Astrology 101 PDF guide. My gift to you, you can access that right now and learn about the signs, planets, houses, aspects, and more so you can understand these free videos that I give to you each week, as well as your own chart a little bit more effectively. The way that I structure these videos is that I always start with a general 5 to 10 minute overview of the energy for the 2 weeks ahead. Please don't skip this because it provides an important context for the deeper discussion we'll be getting into when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs. Speaking of which, when we do get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you listen to your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for the 2 weeks ahead. Your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is important to listen to as well, although this energy will be a little bit more internalized and subjective. Finally, at the end of this video, I'm going to give an overview of the next 2 weeks, beginning with the new moon in Libra, and so stick around until the end if you're interested in that. All right, so kind of getting back into the energy for the next couple of weeks. So Mercury, as we're coming into this full moon in Pisces, will have just went retrograde. It's going retrograde on the 9th, and I have a whole video where I go through the entire 3-week retrograde. That forecast is floating around up here, so make sure that you listen to that if you haven't already done so, because you're going to get a really, really deep overview of what is actually a really nice Mercury retrograde. I mean, the Mercury retrograde is making positive alignments, positive aspects the whole time. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air where we get to kind of reconvene and reset after all of the craziness of the last couple of months, kind of like this full moon energy, which is doing a similar thing. It's bringing out something positive that is kind of being born from the chaos that we've experienced, or that a lot of people have experienced. Even if you didn't experience full-blown chaos, something was shifted, something was disrupted, something probably changed, or you've been experiencing it like vicariously through all the people in your life who are going through shifts and changes. So now it's kind of like we're on the tail end of that, and we're seeing where this is going, and we're seeing the benefits maybe of some of these uncomfortable moments. And That Mercury retrograde is us kind of reviewing, reflecting, taking a step back, taking ideas that have passed us by because we were in such chaos, and, you know, actually giving us time to reflect on those ideas and to turn them into like a practical plan to actually do something with it in reality. It's kind of like we would have missed these opportunities or missed this information even, and now we get to revisit it. So again, I have a whole video on that. So during this entire 2-week period, Mercury will be in retrograde. So keep that in mind. All the normal Mercury retrograde stuff still applies, even though it's a beautiful Mercury retrograde. You know, you want to double and triple check everything. It's a great time for all of those things like reviewing, revising, reorganizing, re-editing, revisiting, repurposing. That's something that I love to do. I go back because I've created so many things, so many courses, so many videos, so much just information, and I've put it together in so many ways. And I like to use this time period to kind of go back and look at what I've created and what I could repurpose or reuse, or maybe even revise in some way. Like if it's like a course and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go in and do an audit and, you know, optimize the course, make it better. Like those types of things are really great for Mercury retrogrades in general. And especially this one, because it's such a nice Mercury retrograde, you could get a lot of, you could get a lot of momentum going. You could do a lot of good things with this energy. And I think the outcomes would be very positive. We're also going to have the Sun trining Uranus exact. So of course, that's part of this full moon in Pisces. The Sun's in trine with Uranus as part of this configuration with the moon in sextile. That comes exact on the 11th. The Sun is trining the North Node on the 10th at the time of this full moon. So again, big fated energies, big fated changes, but they come about in a way that's much more gentle, much easier to digest, much easier to work with, and less uncomfortable than what we've been used to the past few weeks or the past couple of months. So I love that. The Sun will be opposing Uranus exact. Is that correct? No, Neptune. The Sun will be opposing Neptune exact, sorry about that, on the 16th of September. And so that's another big energy. This is a good time to just take a step back and relax. Like our brains are not working as optimally, even with Mercury being in its exaltation for part of this retrograde. I mean, it's kind of more of a time of reflection. So this is a really good time to tap into your intuition, do some meditation, do some creative work, creative thinking, use your imagination a little bit more. And so the Sun opposing Uranus or Neptune is good for that. We have Venus trining the North Node exact on September 16th, another mitigating influence, another positive, faded energy that could come to us through our connections with other people. It can help us to rebalance and create a sense of harmony and equilibrium once again after that period of disruption. And then we have the Sun trine Pluto on the 18th and Venus trine Uranus on the 19th. Again, this is just great energy. We're going to be figuring out so many things this month. It's kind of like the dust has settled and we're really getting back down to the nitty gritty. We're reconfiguring our plans. We're getting to the bottom of things. We're thinking things through much more so than we were able to in the past couple of months, the past few weeks, because it's been maybe more hectic for some people. And so I love, love, love this energy. The Sun trine Pluto is a really powerful energy for transformation, for healing, for reigniting passions, for something that's really connected to your soul and what your soul came here to do in this lifetime, your soul's expression in this physical reality. This is also a really great, powerful leadership energy in particular. So if that's something or a role that you're looking at stepping into more, so like more of a leadership role, that Sun trine Pluto energy on the 18th is great for that. Venus trine Uranus, again, more mitigating influence for that Uranus North Node conjunction, positive energy around change, positive changes in your connections with other people, positive changes in your finances, your physical, material kind of world and realm, you know, all good things. So I love, love, love the next couple of weeks. I'm not seeing anything that I really don't love or that I'm like, oh gosh. So I'm really happy to be here this week, delivering really positive news. And so that is my forecast for the general overview. Let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries and Aries rising. For Aries and for Aries rising, So for Aries, these past few weeks, especially in July and in August, you've probably been going through a lot of changes when it comes to your finances, a lot of fated, synchronous, very disruptive changes, to say the least. Maybe you've made a major purchase, maybe you've paid off a debt or a loan, maybe you've taken out a new loan, maybe your financial situation has completely destabilized and you've gotten a new job or started a new career path. Whatever it is that's been coming up for you when it comes to your material possessions, your material wealth, now's a time where you're going to be able to come up with very creative solutions that will help you to manifest the reality of your dreams when it comes to your financial situation. Spending time in solitude, seclusion, contemplation, spending time focusing on your creativity and your spiritual well-being, your inner world, will help you to find the creative solutions, to use your imagination to find the unconventional ways of doing things that you wouldn't be able to access otherwise if it weren't for the illumination of this full moon in that area. So definitely take some time to yourself around the time of this full moon in Pisces, and really over the next couple of weeks that's going to be a big thing because the sun will be opposing Neptune shortly after this full moon configuration. And then for Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for Taurus, this energy is happening it's been happening in your sign. So over the past few weeks, especially in July and in August, you've been going through a lot of personal changes. You've been going through a lot of professional changes. You've been going through a lot of relationship changes. You've been going through a lot of changes in your home and family life. Changes all over the place for Taurus. You yourself have been changing and evolving and growing and moving more into aligning yourself with who you came here to be, what you came here to accomplish. You're becoming more you in a very unique way and caring a lot less about what other people think about who you are and the way you're showing up in the world. And that's a wonderful thing. Now is a time where your relationships and connections to other people, your friendships and group associations will be highlighted at the time of this full moon. And connecting with the right people, especially a very spiritual, creative, compassionate community, can really help you to align much more easily and much more deeply with who you're becoming, with your new direction and your new path in life. Your networks and connections can really pull you into that next phase, into that next level of your evolution. This is also a really great energy for engaging in maybe charitable work or joining some sort of charitable organization or humanitarian type of cause, or forming a charitable organization for yourself. And that could be a big part of embracing who you're becoming and who you want to be in this next phase of your life, because really this is one of those periods of time where your whole life is being turned upside down, and you're going to look back on this and there's going to be a before and after, and that after could be a life where you are much more compassionate, much more caring, and much more giving toward others. It could be this charitable phase of your life that you're moving into, especially with this full moon energy and embracing that. Also, it's just an energy where it might be highlighting your support system and how other people could help you or support you or give back to you in some way, in this way that's very selfless and very compassionate too. For Gemini and for Gemini rising. So for Gemini, you've been having a lot of disruption kind of behind the scenes, where it's not as out in the open as it has been for some of the other signs. It's kind of like there's been something brewing beneath the surface. Maybe you've been having really wild dreams. Maybe you've just been feeling very unsettled. Maybe you've had actual disruptive circumstances come up over the past few weeks, especially in July and August, involving things like hospitals or illness, involving things like rehabilitation centers, prisons, spiritual retreat centers, places that you go to hide away from the world. Maybe you've been studying some very unique and unusual forms of spirituality, or just some very unique and unusual topics in secret behind closed doors. Well, now's the time to kind of embrace that and bring it out into the open if that is the case, because this full moon is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and public reputation. You could jump the gun on some things though, Gemini, because Mars is in your sign. And so don't act in haste, don't act impulsively when it comes to choosing a path or jumping in to initiate something right away. There's some nebulous energy, some confusion, especially when it comes to career-related advancements, career-related topics, career-related projects, or big moves that you want to make. And so make sure that you're getting that clarity before you jump ahead, but it could be that you're finally ready to take that weird, unusual, unique stuff that you've been doing behind closed doors, and you're ready to start putting that out into the open. Maybe you're wanting to start a spiritual based business or a creative type of business with that Pisces energy, with that Neptunian energy. And I would say that this is a time where that's going to be a reality, and that's something that you can definitely manifest and put out there into the world a lot more so than you normally would be able to do. So there's definitely a fated change coming involving your work, not just your overall career, but your day-to-day work habits and routines, where you're letting go of something that is no longer serving you. You're bringing back into the mix a talent, a gift, an opportunity from the past. And you're also incorporating these new exciting things that you've been kind of working on and thinking about behind the scenes. Okay. And for Cancer rising. So for Cancer, this full moon energy is happening in your 9th house, which is the house of travel. It's the house of expanding your knowledge base, expanding your horizons, expanding your perspective through having adventures, through experiential wisdom, through learning and growing and expanding your mind through higher education. This is a time where something around that could be highlighted for you. You've been going through a lot of disruptive energy and changes when it comes to your friends, your social networks, the people you surround yourself with by choice. It could even be that your friends have been all over the place and they've been going through chaos, and you've been kind of experiencing that chaos vicariously through them. Whatever the case, this is giving you a new perspective on life, and this is going to give you a new perspective on those experiences, those situations, those new connections that are very fated that have been forming in your life, one-on-one or, in those kind of group settings when it comes to your social circle. This is also a time where some sort of fated opportunity for you to go out and learn something new, extend your education, or expand your horizons through travel or connection with somebody from a completely different culture that you're not familiar with. That could come up for you right now. Or there could be an opportunity for you to teach or lead some sort of group and to do something very unusual, very outside of the box, very alternative to the mainstream when it comes to the information that you're putting out there. Use your imagination, be creative with it, and definitely embrace it. This is a great time for it right now. For Leo and for Leo rising. Leos are another sign that have been going through a disruptive experience, an uncomfortable experience in all areas of life for the past few weeks, but especially in July and into August. Your career, your public reputation, the things that you're doing out in the world, the legacy that you leave behind after work, your relationship with people in positions of power and authority, and your relationship to yourself as somebody in a position of power and authority, if that's applicable to you. All of these things are being shaken up and have been shaken up for a while now. And this is a time where you finally get to kind of settle back in. You finally get to embrace the changes and see where this is going to take you. This would be a really great time for you to kind of dive into something like an investment or a loan or an opportunity that's financial related to your business. If you're somebody who is a solopreneur, entrepreneur, somebody who is self-employed, this is also where something could be brought up into the open, where you could use your imagination and find a very unique, unconventional way of obtaining the resources you need to make your dreams a reality out in the world with work or with just a big vision that you have in general. This is also where somebody in a position of power and authority could help you to obtain money or resources from an outside source. And so this is really great energy for that as well. This could be a time too, if you're somebody who's trying to get financing for a move because you have had disruption, not just in career, but in your personal life, your relationships, and in your family life. This is a time where that financing could come through. You could get a loan or a mortgage or, something along those lines to either move or renovate your home or change course in some way. This is a time too where you could do things that are a little bit more unconventional, especially if you're somebody, obviously, if you're watching this video, you study occult sciences or you're interested in occult sciences behind the scenes, because this is one of those sciences. But if that's something that you're interested in and that you've been thinking about incorporating into your work, now's a time where you could do that, or something more creative, or doing something involving like hypnosis or meditation techniques or something along those lines too, where you're going a little bit deeper into the subconscious and exploring fears, anxieties, old wounds, traumas, things like that, and doing really deep, like more energetic and more subconscious healing work. This is a time where you could embrace that as well. For Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgo, you've been having a little bit of disruption, maybe involving travel plans, your schooling, your education, teaching, publishing, you know, those types of pursuits. There's something going on here where your perspective on life has shifted or been altered in a very dramatic way over the past few weeks, especially these last couple of months in July and in August. And that could have been really jarring for you. And really that's changed very easily. It's changed who you are and the way you show up in the world, how you perceive yourself and how other people perceive you, because you're aligning yourself with these new ideologies, with this newfound perspective. You are realigning yourself with your integrity in a big way. And, you know, right now, this is a time where your relationships, and whether or not those relationships are aligned with this new perspective, if they're aligned with your integrity still, that's going to be brought out into the open. This is also a time with this full moon being in your 7th house where, you know, a relationship could be highlighted, where a new stage in a relationship could come to be, where maybe you were with someone, your perspective shifted, or maybe you took a big trip with them and it changed your mind or your perspective on that person, and now you're ready to take things to the next level. Now you're ready to move in, now you're ready to get married, now you're ready to have kids, now you're ready to do whatever the next phase is. This could also just be you feeling very compassionate, very loving, very connected to your partner, or a new partnership coming in, maybe through travel, or maybe through an outside connection in a foreign country, where all of a sudden this new person is in your life. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it could be. And so that could be illuminated or highlighted in some way. Relationships are highlighted. You're not seeing them super clearly, but that's not a huge issue as long as it's not like a work-related relationship or a business partnership. I would say that, you know, you're having really good fated karmic connections on a mental level, especially communications that could be very fated in your relationships at this time. For Libra and for Libra rising. So for Libra, this energy of the North Node conjunction to Uranus has been making a little bit of disruption in your financial sector, especially when it comes to joint finances through marriage or through partnership in business, investments, inheritance, insurance, taxes, all of those types of things, loans, debts, credit cards. There could have been maybe like a new opportunity that came out of the blue for you to get a loan or secure some financing or get investors, or maybe your partner had a new financial opportunity. Whatever it is, the dust is finally starting to settle, and this could be something that could be really good for you when it comes to your day-to-day life experience, your day-to-day work experience. This full moon is highlighting your work, your health, and your daily routines. And so this is a time where I think that even though it might feel busier in that area, it's a time where it's being highlighted that you need to be more gentle on yourself. You need to have a lot more flow, a lot more creativity, a lot more wiggle room when it comes to your day-to-day work habits, your day-to-day work routines, your health. This could also be you embracing kind of more spiritual forms of healing, more spiritual forms of therapy that impact not just the spiritual, psychological, and emotional bodies, but also the physical. This would be a great time for some sort of energy work or something along those lines, especially with this energy too. That 8th house energy runs really deep. It's not just, finances and things like that. These are like deep psychological triggers, traumas, and wounds that have been brought up for you. And this is going to be a time where you could have a very powerful but very gentle healing experience that could help you to overcome a lot of fears and a lot of energy from your past. So yeah, I really like this. This could also be a financial opportunity coming through, just very simply like a new project with work. And that could be what's coming up for you, Libra. So all good things. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising. So for Scorpio, this North Node conjunction to Uranus has been really shaking things up when it comes to your partnerships. It could be that your partner had a new experience or a big change. It could be that you had a big change in your partnership. It could be that you ended a partnership or started a new one. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partnership. It could be ending a contract with somebody like an employee or a business partner. It could be like ending a contract for like a home, or something along those lines, or signing a new contract for a home. It could be entering into a new friendship or connection that's very fated, very exciting, very different, very new. All of these things could have been the disruptions that were occurring for you. And for Scorpios, it would have impacted all areas of life, especially your career and public reputation, your home and family life, your personal life, who you are is changing in a big way, lots of stuff. But this full moon, luckily, is beautiful for Scorpios, beautiful for all the water signs. It's making a really nice trine to your ascendant, sun, or moon. It's bringing about this fated energy where you can take something from your past that was a huge part of you, not just maybe in this lifetime or earlier on in life, but in previous lifetimes and previous experiences that you still feel this deep connection to. It's something that you're really passionate about. It's something that you're really good at. It's taking this energy and it's embracing it and bringing it back into your life because it feels good, because it brings you joy. This is also a really great energy for romance. This would be a great time for a romantic getaway for Scorpio rising. I love this, especially if you're in a new partnership, or if you've reignited the excitement in a current partnership. This would be a great time to do that, or if you're looking to do that as well. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. For Sagittarius, this energy with the North Node and Uranus is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. All of that has been super disrupted, especially over the past 2 weeks, especially in July and into August. And now's the time where things are starting to settle down a little bit. It's not really settled, but it's starting to. And this is actually a time where the full moon is going to be highlighting your home and what's going on behind the scenes. You're needing to have a little bit of a better work-life balance, having a better balance between being busy, and doing things out in the world and focusing on what feels really good. Creating a space of like almost like a sanctuary space in your home right now is what you probably are craving. And that could actually help you in a lot of ways. Focusing on your family, focusing on your roots, focusing on your home is going to create a lot of new opportunity that you wouldn't otherwise have had access to when it comes to your work and your daily routines, or when it comes to a major period of healing on a physical level. So this is all about kind of the inner world, and a little bit less about the external at the start of this next 2 weeks. And so yeah, I really like this for just kicking back, relaxing, spending time with family, and seeing the changes that come as a result of that, or the opportunities, or the creativity that flows. It's kind of like it helps you tap into your imagination so you can imagine a better situation for yourself when it comes to your work and your daily routines, or your health, if that's applicable to you and you're having issues with that. And then all of a sudden you're able to make that a reality. For Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. For Capricorn, this North Node conjunction to Uranus happened and is still happening in your 5th house. So for you, it's not as challenging. You've been embracing new forms of creativity. You've been embracing new hobbies, interests, things that you love. Some of you have had some major changes involving children, or your children that you already have. Maybe some of you, have become pregnant or something like that. That's definitely not out of the question for this energy. But whatever it is that's been coming up for you, it's been viewed positively. It's been very exciting for you. This is a time right now where the full moon is highlighting your area of communication, community, your neighbors, your neighborhood, your siblings, your extended family members, or short distance travel, or your commute, where you're going to have I think right now you're just thinking really creatively. Your imagination is just running wild. You've had all these really powerful, positive experiences. You're aligning more with your heart and what your heart wants, and you're embracing these kind of weird new things that you're really excited about, that you're passionate about in your life, or these big surprises and changes involving your family or your children. And this is a time time where your imagination is going to help you to facilitate the change that you want to see in your life, so you can have more of that positivity, so you can experience more of that joy, so you can do more of those unconventional activities that you've been really embracing and loving. And so I do like that energy. There could be an opportunity that's highlighted for you right now involving a connection to your community or some sort of spiritual or creative connection to your community. This would be a great time to join some sort of like, I don't know, like meditation group or, spiritual circle of some kind, or maybe even taking a class for like painting or something artistic in your community. I think that could go really well for you, and that could open up even more opportunity for creativity and for fun in your life. For Aquarius and for Aquarius rising, this energy with the North Node conjunction to Uranus has been happening in your 4th house and causing changes and disruptions in all areas of life, but especially when it comes to your home, family, property, and real estate. This is also an energy right now where some opportunity could come to you financially that could help facilitate the changes that you're wanting to make when it comes to your home, your property, your real estate, or it could be a change in your career path that's very faded, where you're embracing a path from your past, maybe in this lifetime, but maybe even in previous lifetimes, where it feels very comfortable, where it feels like something that you already have a talent for, but even though it's coming in fresh, it's coming in new. And this could bring a lot of really incredible financial opportunity for you. And that financial opportunity could facilitate the lifestyle that you want to lead behind the scenes when it comes to your home, your place of living, your family life, and all of that. And so, be on the lookout for creative financial opportunities. They're not necessarily going to make as much sense logically as they will intuitively, but it's like money could just flow in right now like magic if you're paying close attention and if you're taking advantage of what's being highlighted and the new opportunities that are coming in for you. So I love that for Aquarius. Finally, for Pisces and for Pisces rising. So for Pisces, you've been having a better end of this too. There's been wild communications coming in. There's been wild opportunities maybe for travel, maybe involving your commute, your connection to your community in some way. There's been a lot of really incredible changes going on for you when it comes to your mindset and your views on things. It could even be that you've been embracing a new educational path and it's been very exciting for you. But in general, this hasn't been the worst energy for the North Node conjunction to Uranus for Pisces. And this full moon is highlighting you. And so you're kind of in the spotlight right now. This is where your creative and compassionate and intuitive gifts are going to be in the spotlight, front and center. You're going to be recognized for your sensitivities in a positive way. You're going to be recognized for your compassion, your charitability, your ability to give back and to help other people, again, in a positive way. Or you're going to be recognizing that more so in yourself and embracing it a lot more. Like maybe you don't like that you're so sensitive, and all of a sudden this full moon comes in and you're like, the sensitivity gives me a different perspective. It gives me a different viewpoint or vantage point on life and on the world around me, and I'm going to embrace this. I love it. Or it could be like you're super creative already, and this is just really enhancing your creativity. You're feeling like you want to like make some crafts, paint some things, that type of thing. This could also just be highlighting your spirituality and your need to connect with yourself on that level a little bit more, or to do something out in the world that's more spiritual, creative, or compassionate. All of these things are absolutely wonderful. I would say that taking that and bringing it kind of grassroots to your community or to your immediate environment, to your neighborhood, and being front and center in that way, like teaching a painting class, or teaching something about spirituality, or it's doing something charitable in your community, could be a great way to tap into and utilize this energy. And so that's what's going on for Pisces. And so that's my forecast for all 12 signs. Coming up on the 25th is going to be a new moon in the sign of Libra. This one is, again, a good energy. It's not the worst that I've seen. We're having some, good luck up until we get to the eclipse season, which is right after this, this Aries moon here and all of that. But, for the coming lunar cycle, I'm liking the energy. The new moon in Libra is going to be in a very close opposition to Jupiter, which will be retrograde in the sign of Aries. And so a really powerful positive energy. It's kind of like seeding opportunities, seeding new beginnings, that it's almost like we're revisiting something that happened when when Jupiter was direct moving through Aries, and we're kind of bringing it back down to earth, and we're actually turning it into something. We're taking something that has already been initiated, and we're kind of weighing the options, balancing it out, bouncing it out off of other people, and kind of bringing that back around intellectually and kind of in that air sign format in Libra, right? Because the new moon's in Libra. And we're going to be able to do something with it. So it's seeding something that I think will come back around more fully when Jupiter moves back into Aries at the end of this year and into the start of 2023. So it's kind of like a powerful time where we're going to be initiating something, but we're not going to see the full fruits, the full manifestation of that for several months. And it's something that we've already started that we're kind of bringing back in and doing something with it, or kind of redistributing it in some way. So we'll talk about what that means for all 12 signs, of course, in a couple of weeks when we get into this forecast. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, like the video, subscribe to my channel so you never miss an important astrology update, and make sure you share this with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from the information that I shared with you today. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.